Hi everyone, this is Lara Hammock from the Marble Jar channel, and in today's video I'll share how I use Google Sheets and Toodledo to throw our annual party with a minimum of fuss. So I used to feel kind of intimidated about throwing a big party, but now I've got it down to a science. We throw a big annual nightclub themed dance party since we both love to dance and we're way too old and suburban now to go to actual nightclubs. So our party is not going to end up in a magazine spread, but it is easy to pull off year after year, and I find that I can actually enjoy myself when I'm not being a slave to perfection. So here are some of my requirements for our annual party. Large. I actually prefer large parties since I get stressed out about narrowing down the guest list for smaller parties. I will definitely enjoy the party less if I am worried about hurting people's feelings. Easy. Hats off to people who seem to effortlessly throw beautiful, complicated parties with lots of creative touches and homemade food, but I am not that person. The key for me is decorating just enough to get by and relying on pre-made food for convenience and ease. It helps that we have the party start at 8 p.m., so we provide munchies but not dinner, and also because it's dark outside at that time, string lights go a long way in decorating. So I actually leave the little hanging nails up all year round, so light hanging is easier starting in year 2. I also essentially get all of my food from Costco, and I'm not afraid to serve some things out of the containers that they actually came in. It's not glamorous, but it does the trick. Fun. Just a couple of fun touches go a long way. Themes are great, particularly if you allow for folks to opt out of costumes. I mean, not everyone wants to be forced to wear 80s era prom gear, for example. The dance club theme is perfect since the ladies tend to club it up and the men can really wear whatever they want, which is essentially accurate clubbing attire anyway. We are lucky enough to have an accomplished DJ as a good friend, and we have some other friends who let us use their parquet dance floor. I usually find something fun to hang out, glow sticks or blinky rings or something like that I order from Amazon. Repeatable. I really don't mind giving a lot of thought to planning a party the first time I throw it, but I want to capitalize on all of that decision-making effort in the years that follow. What that means for me is lots of documenting and a post-party review, and in order to do this, I use Google Sheets. So I have a spreadsheet that I call Club Hammock Dance Party. I'm going to include a link to a modified version of this in the comments section. So this spreadsheet holds historic and current party information. I have different sheets for different kinds of information. Generally speaking, if the information is two-dimensional, meaning that it can be contained in a single column, then I will keep multiple years on one sheet. If the information has more than 2 dimensions or it has multiple columns, then I have to duplicate the sheet for each year. I just name each tab with the year first. So let's go through my sheets. Number 1, invites. So this just holds names and email addresses. I use Evite, and you can just cut and paste this entire column into the invite list on Evite. Details. This holds other core information that I need to plug into the Evite. Details like when, where, etc. So this is actually an example of a 2-dimensional sheet. I can keep info for multiple years on the same sheet. I just put all of the years as the column heads. Food and drink. So this is a list of all of the food and the drink which I will be serving and which platter that I use. Decorations. This contains links to the websites where I've purchased decorations and descriptions of all of the decorations, where they're placed, and any additional information that will make my life easier a second time around. Like for stringing lights, I know which end I start with and where I plug these in. Shopping. So this is a list of all of the items I need to purchase, the quantity, and what recipe they're used in, and what store they came from. When shopping, I turn the filter on so that I can filter by store. So to filter, select all of the cells and hit this filter button, and now under the store column, I can select individual stores. Tasks. So the first year I spent some time coming up with this list of tasks, and now I just do the same thing every year. Along with each task, I determined how many days before the event the task needed to happen. So for example, I need to order the keg 7 days before the party. Then every year, the very first thing I do is figure out the date where the party's going to happen. I have an annual recurring list in Toodledo to figure that out well in advance. And then in this cell here in yellow, I plug in the date for this year and it updates all of the dates for each task for the year. So you can see that there are a lot of tasks happening on the day of the party, obviously. I have an additional column where I can list the time that that task should happen. For example, I need to put the slow cooker meatballs on at noon and pick up the keg at 1 p.m. So once I've updated this task list for the current year, I plug all of these tasks into my current task app, in my case, Toodledo. So I do all of this on Toodledo for the web since it has more robust functionality. Basically, I want to add these tasks in bulk. I ignore all the tasks that need to happen the day of the party since I can just work off the spreadsheet for those. And instead, I copy this column of tasks from the spreadsheet. I go into Toodledo, I hit Add Task, I choose Add Multiple Tasks, and I paste them in. So if each is on its own line, Toodledo will put in each as a separate task. Then I tag them all with a tag like annual party, and I hit save. So now, in order to change the dates, I go into the tags, I find the appropriate one, and I change each task date manually to reflect the dates on the spreadsheet. If you'd like a blow-by-blow instructions on entering multiple tasks in Toodledo, you can check out my video on planning big projects. So the last planning thing I do is I go through, and for any task that's going to take longer than 30 minutes, I block off time on my calendar for that day. So I basically clear the entire day of the party with some kid activity exceptions, and also the morning of the day before the party for shopping. The last two things are that I take a ton of pictures of decorations and food and drink placement before anyone arrives so that I don't have to think about this every year. I just go back the next year and I refer to old photos. Also, I spend a couple of hours the day after the party doing a post-mortem, determining what things worked, what things didn't, adjusting food and drink quantities, and adding some ideas for the following year. Look, no one is going to accuse me of being the next Martha Stewart. Perfection is not my goal. I know my life and my stressors well enough to know that if an event is not easy and not repeatable, it's also not likely to happen every year. I love this event for the sheer joy of connecting with friends and, of course, dancing like a lunatic. Let me know what you think. Comments are always appreciated, and thanks for watching.